Welcome to Movies in the Making. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at the 1957 historical war film The Bridge on River Kwai, originally released by Columbia Pictures and directed by David Lean. Here, we will dive deep into the story of the production of this film. This film was based on a popular book that fictionalizes the construction of the Burma Railway in Thailand. For being about a lot needed to set up a bridge, the film itself had a lot needed to set itself up. So, sit back and enjoy the show. You are all in for a ride across the bridge made to making this film. The Bridge on the River Kwai is based on a 1952 novel of the same name, itself written by Pierre Boulle. The book utilizes the construction of the Burma Railway in Thailand as its historical setting, while including some of Boulle's own experience when fighting in Southeast Asia during the Second World War. Columbia Pictures secured the rights to the book after it became a bestseller. Sam Spiegel, the producer, was keen to adapt the book into a film and was determined to secure the film rights. He succeeded in acquiring the rights by offering Pierre Boulle a substantial payment. This allowed Columbia Pictures to proceed with the production of the film, which would eventually become a major Hollywood epic. When Spiegel initially discussed The Bridge on the River Kwai with director Howard Hawks, Hawks lost interest quickly. Spiegel wanted a big-budget movie with an American lead, but Hawks felt the story was not strong enough for such an investment. It was not until Spiegel found David Lean, who was working on the film Summertime, United Artists, 1955, at the time, that the project truly began to take shape. While Lean's previous British films had a significant influence on filmmakers like Sofia Coppola, it was his work with Spiegel on epic films that would define his career. Although Spiegel's difficult personality created tension with Lean, a talented but cautious filmmaker, their collaboration was essential to completing the movie. Lean resisted the idea of using cheap miniatures to film it, wanting to create something far grander, as emphasized by Lean's biographer Kevin Brownlow. Carl Foreman and Michael Wilson became two of the screenwriters for The Bridge on the River Kwai after Spiegel obtained the film rights to the source material in 1954. For Spiegel, Foreman began adapting the book into a screenplay, but his work was complicated by his blacklisting due to his former communist affiliations. After writing several drafts, Foreman was forced to leave the project because of the growing political pressure and his inability to work openly in Hollywood. He recommended Michael Wilson, another talented screenwriter, yet who had also been blacklisted, to finish the script. Wilson had experience working on scripts under pseudonyms and took the task of completing the screenplay, further shaping the film's narrative and structure. William Holden's journey into landing his role in The Bridge on the River Kwai was shaped by both his personal struggles and his professional growth. During the Second World War, he enlisted in the Officers' Candidate School in Florida in 1942, where he trained as an Air Force second lieutenant and spent several years working on public relations and producing training films. This experience gave him a broader understanding of the human cost of war. Tragically, Holden's brother was killed in action during the war, which deeply affected him and added an emotional layer to his life and work. When Holden returned to Hollywood, he had a more mature and complex understanding of life, which reflected in his performances. His particular portrayal in The Bridge on the River Kwai, a film about the grueling forced labor of prisoners of war, drew on this newfound depth, adding emotional weight and authenticity to his character. Jack Hawkins' military experience played a key role in his casting for The Bridge on the River Kwai. Known for his commanding presence and strong, authoritative voice, Hawkins was often cast in military roles, such as in The Cruel Sea and Malta's Story, both distributed by General Film Distributors, released in 1953. His background and natural ability to portray characters with military bearing led to his success in these roles. Despite his inclination to avoid being typecast, he continued to be recognized for his strong authoritative performances, which later helped him land significant roles in other major films, including The Bridge on the River Kwai. The casting of Alec Guinness as Colonel Nicholson in the film was not a straightforward decision. Initially, Lean's first choice for the role was Charles Laughton. However, due to Laughton's ineligibility for the film's jungle shoot in Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, Spiegel suggested the role be offered to Alec Guinness. Although Lean had worked with Guinness before with Great Expectations, 1946, and Oliver Twist, 1948, both distributed by General Film Distributors and adapted from the books by Charles Dickens, he was doubtful about the actor's suitability for such a dramatic and authoritative role, as Guinness was known for his comedic performances. Despite this, Lean eventually agreed to cast him, but the process to secure Guinness was not easy. Guinness was initially uninterested in the role, dismissing the first draft of the script as rubbish and feeling that his character, Colonel Nicholson, was secondary. It was not until Spiegel personally met with Guinness and persuaded him over dinner that the actor agreed to take the role. Even after joining the project, Guinness faced tension with Lean during filming, and the two had very different visions for Nicholson. While Guinness wants to inject some humor into the character, Lean preferred a more serious portrayal. Despite these conflicts, their collaboration resulted in Guinness delivering a remarkable performance, which ultimately won him an Academy Award for Best Actor. Despite their disagreements, Guinness held a great respect for Lean, and their professional relationship continued in future projects. The bridge on the River Kwai was filmed in Sri Lanka, named Ceylon at the time, not Thailand where the actual bridge is located. David Lean chose the lush landscapes of Kutilgala, a town in Sri Lanka's wet zone rainforests, as the backdrop for the film. The Kalani River's rapids and the surrounding forests create an authentic setting for the movie's dramatic moments. Other notable filming locations include the Ambepusa and the Mount Lavinia Hotel, which served as the backdrop for the hospital scenes. These sites are still accessible to visitors who can explore the natural beauty of Kutilgala, take part in water sports on the Kalani River, or visit the historical hotel. Filming in Sri Lanka presented some challenges, including the difficulties of recreating the harsh conditions of a Japanese prison camp from the Second World War. Despite this, the team made use of the landscapes to enhance the realism of the story. The film's pivotal scenes, such as Shears and Joyce planting explosives on the bridge, were filmed near Kutilgala, around 60 kilometers southwest of Kandy. The Mount Lavinia Hotel and the Royal Botanic Gardens in Paradinia also served as locations for key moments, with the latter providing a peaceful, ironic contrast to the military mission being discussed. These locations contributed significantly to the film's atmosphere and have since become popular spots for both tourists and film enthusiasts. To film the location of Thailand, where the Burma Railway was built, Spiegel and production designer Don Ashton chose to shoot the Colombo region of Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, which offered a lush jungle and a hot climate, different from Spiegel's original plan to shoot the film in Yugoslavia. The bridge for the movie was constructed by Kutilgala, a small town near Colombo. Although the bridge was completed by January 1957, casting was still underway, and there were concerns Columbia Pictures might cancel the film. Spiegel claimed that he spent over $250,000 and 8 months to build the bridge, but Ashton suggested the cost was closer to $50,000, with local workers and elephants helping. Despite the challenges, Spiegel managed to balance between using real locations and cheaper miniatures to create the iconic bridge. In Boulle's novel and the real history, the Allied forces failed to destroy the bridge, but in the film, the bridge is blown up. After spending time and money building the bridge, Lean and Spiegel needed explosives for the dramatic scene. The explosion was filmed from multiple angles all at once to capture the bridge and the train collapsing. Spiegel invited local celebrities, including Ceylon's Prime Minister, to watch the event, but Lean cancelled the explosion at the last minute. Lean had set up 5 cameras with an electric panel to track which ones were recording. However, one camera operator, Freddie Ford, forgot to start his camera. So Lean made the tough decision to call off the explosion. The scene was rescheduled for the next day. Peter Taylor became the editor for this film after a long career in film editing, during which he worked closely with renowned director David Lean. Taylor had gained significant experience in the editing rooms of British films, starting as an assistant and advancing to an assembly editor on projects like The Third Man, British Lion Films 1949, and The Sound Barrier, also British Lion Films, this time 1952. His work on these films impressed Lean, and when an editing position opened on Hobson's Choice, also British Lion Films, this time 1954, Lean offered him the role. Taylor's successful editing career continued, as he was later invited to edit the bridge on the River Kwai in Sri Lanka. Jack Hildyard became the cinematographer for the film after a long career working as a camera operator on various notable films. He started in the industry as a clapper boy in 1932 and progressed working with renowned filmmakers like Alfred Hitchcock and Laurence Olivier. During the war years, he worked on big Technicolor projects, which helped him gain valuable experience. Hildyard's break as a full cinematographer came in 1946, and his work with director David Lean on films like The Sound Barrier and Hobson's Choice showcased his talent. For The Bridge on the River Kwai, he was able to use his skills to create striking visuals, capturing the harsh environment of the prisoners of war camp, and emphasize the scale and significance of the bridge itself, which became the central visual focus of the film. Producer Spiegel was still without a composer for the film as the Academy Award eligibility deadline of the 31st of December 1957 approached. In a last-minute decision, he turned to British composer Malcolm Arnold, who was already known for his work on films like The Sound Barrier and Hobson's Choice. Arnold was given only 10 days to compose the score and rose to the challenge, creating iconic themes such as the River Kwai March and incorporating the famous Colonel Bogey March in a more subtle manner. Arnold's music, which blends both patriotic and dissonant tones, perfectly captured the psychological depth of the characters in the film's themes, contributing greatly to its success. His score went on to become a key component of the film's critical and commercial triumph, earning an Academy Award for Best Original Score. As of the 6th of January 2025, The Bridge on the River Kwai has a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, an 88 out of 100 score on Metacritic, an 8.1 rating on IMDb, and a 4.2 rating on Letterboxd. The film's budget was about $3 million, which is about $33 million today, and it grossed a total of $27 million, which is about $303 million today, from its release date on the 18th of December 1957, making it the highest-grossing film of 1957. The film won in every Academy Award category it was nominated for at the 30th Academy Awards, save for Best Supporting Actor to Seisu Hayakawa, who lost to Red Buttons for Sayonara, Warner Brothers. The awards The Bridge on the River Kwai won are Best Adapted Screenplay, to author Pierre Boulle at the time, Best Original Score, to Malcolm Arnold, Best Film Editing, to Peter Taylor, Best Cinematography, to Jack Hildyard, Best Actor, to Alec Guinness, Best Director, to David Lean, and Best Picture, to producer Sam Spiegel. It was the first David Lean-directed film to even be nominated for Best Picture, and this led Lean to direct Lawrence of Arabia, Columbia Pictures' 1962, which would also win the Best Picture award. Carl Foreman and Michael Wilson were not credited for their work on the film due to being blacklisted during the 1950s for alleged communist ties. At the time of the film's release, their names were intentionally kept hidden by Spiegel and Lean to avoid controversy. Despite their significant contributions to the screenplay, including Foreman securing the film rights to the novel and both writers shaping much of the final script, they were not recognized, and instead, only author Boulle was credited. This was why, when the film won the Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay, only Boulle was given the award despite his inability to understand any English. Foreman and Wilson's involvement was a closely guarded secret, as the Hollywood industry was wary of associating with blacklisted individuals. It was not until 1984, after both writers had passed away, that they were posthumously acknowledged and awarded the Best Adapted Screenplay award for their work on the film. The Bridge on the River Kwai faced notable controversy upon its release, particularly from the British War Office and the Far East Prisoners of War Committee. The British War Office raised concerns that the film, which depicts British prisoners of war building a bridge in Thailand during the Second World War, did not accurately reflect the reality of the prisoners' conduct. They feared the film would misrepresent the actions of the British officers, particularly the portrayal of Lieutenant Colonel Nicholson, who initially refuses to let officers work on the bridge but later decides that they should so that the pride can be maintained. The Far East Prisoners of War Committee, led by Lieutenant General Arthur Percival, also objected to the film's implication that British officers cooperated with their captors, whereas their primary responsibility was to escape and sabotage. And that wraps up our deep dive into the making of The Bridge on the River Kwai. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all things movies in the making. Let us know in the comments what you think of The Bridge on the River Kwai, or if you have any favorite moments from the film we did not touch upon, or what films you would like to hear covered by this channel. Also be sure to check out our community page, where we announce what films will be talked about by this channel each week. New posts arrive every Friday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time on Movies in the Making, where we will be talking about Nosferatu, Film Arts Guild, 1922, and more films to follow along the way. Tune in for more Movies in the Making as we uncover the stories behind cinema's most unforgettable films. This has been Jason Scotchmer, film enthusiast and passionate about the arts.